I had a great weekend. Tonight I decided to share a personal story. I'm going to be vulnerable. I hope it's going to help you because this is how I discovered happiness and freedom. So the story goes like this, is that 7 years ago, I met someone that I totally fell in love with. Totally fell in love. It's before that, it was, everybody that I met, I didn't have that heart that was beating as much as I did. And that person was truly, truly important to me. So what ended up happening is that we went to the ultimate level of commitment, and unfortunately, it didn't work. And that's not the end of the story. I know it's like, oh, it's great, and then it's not going well. But, and then I obviously went through a lot of personal development myself, and that was kind of the second time that I went to the ultimate level to say that I was engaged. And then what happened is that 5 years after that, or 6 years after that, that person came back in my life. She came back. We realized that both of us, we still loved each other. And it was a pretty powerful story at the time. And my heart was living again. And it was last year. And so that's why I'm being very vulnerable. I'm telling you the story, but it was really awesome. It was amazing, and there's a lot of decisions that I had to make. And at that time, I knew that I was building a business where I could pretty much live anywhere I wanted. And through the reconnection along the way, I was doing my first workshop. I don't know if you guys remember, but I had a workshop on communication and on sales, and it was called How to Elevate Your Influence. I was so happy about it. My friends came. I had people that I didn't know that came to at that workshop. It was the first one that the people were paying me to do it, and I was really truly living my passion, and it was so exciting. I think it was in April, and I had so much support. Like, I was so grateful for the fact that people before were saying, Francis, we're thinking about you. I remember there was a friend, Natasha from UK, that same day when, I think the workshop was at 9 on a Sunday, and at 6 a.m. she's in UK, and she said, I'm thinking about you. You're going to be great. This is awesome. You're starting a new, your dream and the whole thing. And it was really, really thrilling for me to do that. Except that at that time, and even after, like, people were like, oh, that was great, Francis. I'm so proud of you. And I had like lots of love on Facebook. People were just being very, very nice to me, but there was one problem, and the problem was that the person that I loved at that time, she forgot about that big day. Like, she totally forgot. We didn't talk to each other for a while, and it hurt, and then she realized when the workshop was over that, well, I'm so proud, like, congratulations, but still my heart was a bit bitter. Because I was ready to make a lot of sacrifices, maybe moving somewhere else and doing these things. And so for me, the fact at the time that this person forgot about the most important thing for me was really disappointing. And she said, I'm sorry, but still at the time for me, it was not enough. It was not enough because I felt, well, you know what, if I'm ready to do all these things, then do I want to be with someone like that? And I was really debating at the time, what is the concept of unconditional love? And I think that was my good intuition at the time. But when you want to justify yourself, and you talk to some people and they're going to answer in a certain way so that you feel better. So, I probably talked to a lot of people. They're like, well, you know what? You got to have support, Francis. It's like this is the way it works. And so, but then I evolved, and I had my own personal development, like I said, and I also read a book called The Way of the Superior Man. And I think I understood the concept before that. And so what I meant by the responsibility that we all have is that only one person in this world can make yourself happy, and that's you. Only you. And I realized that. The fact that I was upset about the fact that I didn't have any support from my love at the time was not her responsibility at all. It was my responsibility. Because can you imagine a world where You know, I can only depend on somebody else's feedback or appreciation to feel better. How many of you can relate? I mean, I've been in that situation so many times at work. You know, when you say, and here's a trigger, you can say, well, it's going to be so much better when, or blah, 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 when, you know, I'll feel, you know, everything's going to change when. Happiness is now. There's no other time. And the only person that can give you that, and the only person that can generate it, is you. And I understood very lately that at the time, I cannot put that responsibility on somebody else. That's my responsibility. My higher purpose is my responsibility. My happiness is my responsibility. That's a choice. If I'm not happy and if I'm complaining about something, then that's an excuse. Just an excuse. There's no other way. You know, that anything you can think of, even if you say, well, I don't have enough money. Well, you know, you can work more. You can serve more people. You can reduce your expenses. I don't know, like there's so many different things, or, you know, like I don't have, you know, there's so many stories of people that cannot, you think that they would not be able to do an activity because they're disabled. And next thing you know is that they're able to do it. They still do it because they decided that they would not let that destroy their dreams or destroy the idea that they wanted to do it. And so I realized myself that anytime, and this is very freeing, it's such a good feeling to know that ultimately the only one person that can generate the happiness is me, and I'm in control all the time. So when I have that idea, when I know that it's my responsibility, anything else is just a bonus. So someone that supports me, bonus, because I'm already happy myself, you know? Think about when you go to the plane and, you know, they say, oh, here's a safety thing, you know, if there's a case of emergency and the plane is just about to crash or there's a problem right now, if there's a mask, an oxygen mask, who do you have to serve first? Right? Hi, Carla, how's it going? You have to serve yourself. The first oxygen mask that you're going to put on is on you, and then you're going to help someone. And that's the same thing about happiness. You have to fill your tank first before you can give happiness, or you don't have to, you can't depend on somebody else to give you that. That's your responsibility. That's only you can do that. And I was just coming back from the grocery and I was thinking, you know what, it's funny, they say don't shop on an empty stomach. Well, I say don't love on an empty heart, right? You have to fill that heart yourself. That's our responsibility. So if you're wondering about what happened after that, is that I decided, and here's another thing, people can say, well, you know, it's all good, Francis, but I still feel shitty. So what do I do? So there's a lot of different ways that I think can help you to bounce back and gain more energy, because at the end it's all energy. People relate around you, they are attracted by your energy. So things to do, well, forgiveness is one. So that the person is not in this country, Canada, so I sent her a text. I just said, you know what, I just want to thank you for the fact that you were in my life. I love you, and at the same time you have done nothing wrong. That's my responsibility. And I wanted to free her. And at the same time, the beauty about forgiveness is that you free yourself. And that is amazing. So if you're wondering about any other ideas that can help you to be more happy or free, well, you know, you can help other people. I mean, you can, yesterday, I helped someone to move. And just the fact that it's a little thing, but doing that makes me happy. You can give a coffee to someone. So act of kindness. You can think about the gratitude that you have in your life for so many things. Like I said before, the country we live in, the fact that we can breathe air, like, and we don't have to suffocate. Like, you know, sometimes people are living in a country, there's smog everywhere. Maybe we don't even have that problem. Most of us don't even have that problem. There's so many things that we can do to just elevate ourselves in terms of vibe. And at the end of the day, when things are not going well, just know that there's another wave that's going to come. And think about the fact that if it's a shitty situation right now, think about the shitty situation before, and I'm sure you'll connect the dots, and now you're like, this is the best thing that could ever happen. So ultimately, the message is this. the freedom, your happiness is something you feel yourself. It's something you generate yourself. And if you don't do that, then you'll always be dependent on other situations, and that's jail time. That's prison. I don't know how you can be happy if you're dependent on other things. I was depending on somebody else to tell me, oh, Francis, good job. And otherwise, I was not happy. Do you know how miserable I can be if I'm just searching for that all the time? The beauty is that this is my responsibility, and I decided to be happy. I decided to help the world, and I know that this is only my responsibility to do it, and this is the same thing with you. So this is an amazing news, because that's your responsibility, and then everything else is a bonus. And there's other ways to fill that tank. Like I said, gratitude, act of kindness. I was talking to my godfather. He said, you know what, there's someone that was struggling one time in his life, and he decided to do volunteer work. He said, when you think about other people, this is happiness. When you just think about yourself, you could be miserable. So there's a lot of messages in this not podcast, but Facebook Live. All I wanted to say is that the beauty and the ultimate responsibility that we have is that we are responsible for our happiness. That's it. And anything else is a bonus when that happens. And imagine the life you're going to have knowing this. It's crazy and it's good. Crazy good. So I wish you an amazing week. Hope that the story helped you. I realize that, and now I know that I can never depend on any other circumstances or any other people to build that happiness. It's my freaking good responsibility, and that's so powerful. I love you all. Have an amazing week.